The soul wants to connect. I'm in a solar perfected year, and all things sun. And what is the sun? The sun is what is visible. It is our shine. It is connected together with our eyes. Inspiration, leadership, performance, creative expression. I have Sun in Venus sign in Taurus, which brings performance, creativity, and connection together. Sun is connected with what people call the ego. And it's a great time to discuss now that, yes, the Sun is leaving a square with Pluto. People talk spiritually about ego death. But there's not enough discussion about the methods in which those qualities that people attribute to leaders are currently built, and the belief that people have to break the identity down to rebuild something. And now, when that is done methodically, then what people desire as they come to perform, as they come to express, as they come to shine, as they come to be, first of all, we tend to connect. And enough is being said about one's shine, one's ego, the ability to shine as we are, and so on and so forth. But not enough is being said about the fact that currently many people are being raised into kind of social setting where they are inbred to betray. And it's expected of them to betray it if they're not cool enough, or if they don't do what they came supposedly to do. And then we think about the essence of sun is actually antithetical to that. The essence of sun is antithetical to anything that basically, how should I say, our shine, our individual shine is something that when we have it, then connection is natural. And so when there is a social setting that basically is trying to design a place where the sovereign is being broken down, then the connections are broken down, of course, and then people experience that as betrayal. So this is what I see around me, that I'm in a soul perfected year, and all the beautiful experiences of soul arrive, and yet, Taurus is a physical sign. And you think about, what about connecting with people? Oh, well, the people that I actually feel, after a moon year, people actually feel relation and connection to are within those basically death camps that you're not supposed to talk about, and they're framed as those who have it all. And, or they frame as with whichever role is desired for them to play in a system that doesn't really govern itself. So and in a system that wants to drive people to do things, but to the excess, because all of the things that you talk about, inspiration, leadership, and so on, that is where the conception and upbringing is supportive of the sovereignty in the individual shine. It is not seen as a threat to connection, but rather it facilitates connection. But in those, and everybody talks about a competition, but a competition on basically being who you are. It's not something that anybody can compete on, because we have an individual shine. So there's also the context of Pluto being opposing Leo is a transformation 12 o'clock for you. Okay, and this is where everything Sun and Sun related is set to transform by being 12 o'clock from something is 12 o'clock from you. Think about the sun and the moon, but they're 12 o'clock from each other. It's full moon. There's a full visibility. But with Pluto, it's a full visibility of what is invisible. So I think about a lot of people talking about, the Epstein rings coming up and so on. And yeah, that has a lot to do with visibility, and the visibility of the most visible people. But what was invisible is the process of breaking down and creating those visible people, including Epstein himself. And so with the plane of what is visible or what is not visible, illusions are created, and this is what people, I guess, call the false light. There are also spiritual gurus and so on and so forth. You see, with the people that were in those islands, it's not just everyday people. It's all the people that basically influence and inspire us on body, heart, mind, and soul. And Epstein himself is kind of like an atomic concurrence of that, because the role of these rituals, the role of these performances, was to break down the spirit to become like ashes from which a mirage or a kaleidoscope or an artificial reality grows, to atomize for the people. And perhaps just knowing, one of the first things I seen today was, why don't you look nice in your photos, okay? And the reference to what is invisible and the connection to the soul, people can call it our soul, or I don't know, the sun itself, light or whatnot, and what it requires us to our own authenticity, to reconnect with our own authenticity. But when we are in a society where more and more people are being broken down from the core in invisible ways, it's not just in the physical, not just the children and the people that were at Epstein. All of them were the children. The children grow. Those who didn't die, they grow, right? This is something, and that's a society. And the role of the sun here is where, in a time of your life, you think about who you authentically are, your shine. How do you lead in the world? Your confidence, your inspiration, or how you cast your light upon the world by just being. Now you are, first of all, you meet those that are connected to your authenticity. And you'd be surprised, because those people, they come from all walks of life. And you think about connection, then you meet the true essence of their struggle, and they meet the true essence of your struggle. And sometimes they can understand things about you that you didn't, but they've seen like that, and vice versa. So it's another level of connection, and at the same time, the fact that from the conception and the upbringing, and I can see how my moon year prepared me to see what I see right now. The conception and the upbringing was designed to break many things, but also the identity. And I focused on the moon, on the emotional, on the psyop, on the this or that. But here's sun, identity, the I am. And so the fact that it was done through breakage, and a lot of method acting is also in that way, where you break a person's ego down to, now there are natural processes of, hey, that ego collapses, but those natural processes, something that was a false self, or something is another side of you that wants to be seen. But here is something way more essential, and that is, I'm in my birthday, okay, the sun return. We celebrate the birthday by the sun, and I think about all the, first of all, the feeling that is connection and togetherness, and the fact that in the physical, I just sit alone drinking cafe. Right. And when I try to, connect with people, what was it that was challenging a connection? Okay. So from Saturn perspective, one would think, schedule, structure, this, that. Okay, that's the Pluto part. But from the Sun point, is that, hey, we are all coping with something at the core of our identity that has such rampant implications for our ability to be who we are and to share a space and to be in the physical plane, even though some of us share lives that are very much almost entangled. And the many ways in which the soul wants to connect, and it is to step away from the physical plane. Sometimes, with Horst, you can talk about embodiment. You think about, you connect to your body. It's like, it's not just your consciousness there. Okay. And they say, but why can't you be physically in the room with these people? Some of them are friends of Efshan. Well, they're people. Of course they're people. But you think about the ability to, I don't know, let's say you can get on a plane. You get on a plane, sit at a cafe, go back in one piece, spirit and matter. And so you think, oh my God, it was probably the this and that. No, any person that reaches a level of connection with the self and wanting and doing something about their lives, let's say doing something with their lives. I reached it through astrology. Not only, yes, I went to academia and so on and so forth, but I reached it through, my research, my astrology, my self-expression, and so on. It's like you build your life, you make something of yourself, and then those things, one way or another, meet you. And certain things, you begin to look back. Okay, when I was a child, okay, but that I remember. Oh, suddenly that I remember. Oh, suddenly that I remember. And then your methods of expression. Now, all the challenges. Think about when I was in high school, I did filmmaking, and you think about the challenge in whether it's painting, picture, expression, song, the challenge in bringing what's inside your soul to be visible and to be understood in a certain way. You can play around ambiguity, but even when you play around ambiguity, you want that to be understood. You want to have some sort of connection, or even if it is malleable, you want people to understand. It's like, okay, that's a malleable, like that's an abstract experience. The art that expresses itself. Um, and the many perceptions we have. We think about the sun as artistic expression, as authentic expression, and the many misconceptions we have around the artist, for example, or the musician, or even the leader. Um, they have to be crazy, they have to be broken, they have to be this, they have to touch the pain of humanity, and so on and so forth. Like, those are things that naturally happen to people when they are, but if we on purpose break people down so that they would be our entertainment, first of all, that entertainment will be our leaders, and that entertainment will no longer be entertaining because son is also the father. Is it lovely to grow around a father figure that is either missing, not fully there, suddenly violent, they don't know what they do, there's like what they're oh, the jabs. No, I don't want to. You see, there's something I want to say right now. But I think about it, where in essence you live in that certain atmosphere. So that type of sun expresses itself to all levels of being. That's how people make a business. That's how people make filmmaking. It's how people make love. I've had and it's how people make politics. And then it's your lived experience. And the wonderful thing about the opposition of Pluto to Leo is that it exposes. Neptune leaks and Pluto exposes. Hey, that is the sun. Oh, who was on that Epstein Island? Or it's like, oh, some actors and stuff, or some leaders and stuff, or some gurus and stuff, or some all the people that shape our consciousness and stuff. Well, what? Why on like? The fuck why? You think about it, the fuck why, right? I mean, what's like? It's not like you know. And they make a spiritual warfare battle around it. Like that doesn't compile. I'm just pointing one. Epstein is one example. We had the True, we had this, we had that, and but the many names that we don't hear about, or very likely the Tates. Everybody's comfortable talking about Tate because they were clients, right? They needed clients, and the age of the girls was going down, down. So. And then, of course, they would take it to trying to shame everything in existence, when in fact, when something is broken down on purpose, then it's the thing in itself that is abrupt. So, of course, it is first of all intimacy, communication, connection, the performance, how people are for the inspiration, or and trying to hold the inner and the outer together. So all the challenges that we already have in trying to capture an idea, trying to capture a channeling of the soul through rhythm and music and words, and even this podcast is an attempt to do that. And it's like it's challenging enough And so, and all the misconceptions that we have, around those things that are, I guess because I have Sun in Taurus, I see it's very simple. And it's because Taurus has the daredevil to say, no, it is simple. We need to create, we need to rest, we need to connect, we need to sleep well. I slept so well last night. I don't know what being was with me. I was just slept so well. Nothing, just sleeping, an actual sleep where I could have a deep rest, which is amazing. And Taurus is like Taurus. You can't really gaslight Taurus with like, oh, the artist has to be crazy, has to be this, has to be that. Like, no, it's from that people who say simplicity, but it's basically embodiment or appreciation or the basic senses. Think about the baby when they are just beginning to put everything in touch and sense and taste um, and that is Taurus. So this is very connected to the art, and when that gets broken down, then it's difficult to experience touch and sight, and it connected them, the sensual, the inner, the outer, the sensory perception, all together. And then on coming to recover that, and of course people begin to remember stuff. So yes, that is my little rant, and this is Mars Day, Moon Hour, and 8 degrees Leo. Mars is released from opposition to Pluto and from trine to Venus and Neptune. Yes, Chiron with Mercury, but it's also with Aries. So this is there's a lot of wounds we are addressing around identity, but also economy, trade, communication, contracts, and the importance of sovereignty. But in all these things, right? Because and I think what the Epstein ring, the exposure of the people that were there, okay, are the people that we are supposed to rely on to be the apotropos of those who can't represent themselves. If you think about leadership first and foremost as, what do you need leadership for? People lead themselves, right? But the first and foremost is like, hey, who takes care that everybody in the community actually is being seen, actually has a place to stay, actually feels belonging, okay? When it doesn't happen, then when people experience isolation, then betrayal comes, because something else will vie for their desire to feel belonging, okay? And it's the people that tend to be the apotropsy. We are in charge, okay, but it's the medically, economically, yes, but also many ways of the art that influences the guru spiritually, philosophically, all the people that people call the creme de la creme, right? That are very entertaining to watch and to listen to and inspiring and so on. Basically, that exposes that and pops the questions: are those the safe hands? Because if this is what they do when the camera is off, I mean, and the camera is on, by the way, but this is another topic about that, but this is what they do, then the gloved hand, let's say, is not doing a good job, right? It's breaking down people and keeping them broken down. It's not doing a good job. So the gloved hand is actually and then the question is of how to reconnect with the soul essence and shine and be able to be visible, not to have to hide ourselves in one way or another. And for the people that grew up in those places, there is an inherent component that I think only the survivors of the concentration camps have. Okay, for those things happen there. So, and those are the people that are in charge of, if never again is now, but if to begin with they were, by conception and upbringing, that had everything work against them on purpose and breaking down on purpose, and they couldn't get out of that, then the questions of all the nice terms that we talk about of governance, like we have to reassess. And I was thinking about, I was doing chart of Carlo Gambino, and he went from, being a mob boss, boss of bosses, to having a sovereign commission that basically people settle arguments, disputes. But how do they settle arguments? Because there's an inherent principle, because if you think about Libra as the scale for justice, but also balancing for the economy, because it's bribery, right? If you think about justice between mob bosses, how do you settle disputes? If you don't want to fight, then with money. But the dispute in itself began because somebody did not have money or resources. So how do you settle a dispute? And this, you think about the mafia, but you think about humanity, and you say, well, it's the same. If somebody did not have resources, then you need to find a way to share the resources, but in a way that doesn't accept another person now from having the resources. And for those people that perpetuate the chaos, is because there was some way they were exempt from having the resources. And resources is not just money. Wealth is not just money. And then there's another role to the sun, which is perception. Because when people perceive that you have it all, now they think, okay, but if I take from this person, not a big problem. What they don't see is when you are in different position than what the position they thought that you are, then either there is a reaction to that and they're overwhelmed, or you suddenly die on them. So this is a big deal, as well as we come to, thinking about how do we change that so that we can shine, but also so that we can connect and live a good life.